Hey guys, Dani here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I generally do a year's recap at the end of the year, like most people on YouTube do. But honestly, this year has been extremely hard. One of the hardest years that I've ever had to go through. And so I'm gonna make this video. Hopefully it'll help me. Hopefully it'll help some of you who have these feelings and feel like this and go through similar things. I'm not gonna edit this video at all because it's probably gonna be far too hard to try and go back and edit this. But I'm just gonna do this chronologically. So yeah, my year. So January started off great, honestly. It was my final semester for my degree, for one of my degrees, but like the main degree that I've been working on for 4 years. And, I was super excited. I was looking forward to, just having a great year. My birthday is in mid-January, and I remember that this birthday was one of the favorites I've had in a long time because it was the first time that all of my friend groups weren't separated. So for me, like, for all the years past, I usually would have like a university friend's birthday and like my high school friend's birthday and my childhood friend's birthday and like a birthday with my mom's side and a birthday with my dad's side, and like this was the first time that I could actually combine like my university friends, my high school friends, my childhood friends, just everyone having one birthday, and I've really enjoyed that. I love that they could all get to know each other and kind of the different parts of my life were finally coming together. And then early February was amazing. My little brother turned 11 and I freaked out because he's making me start to feel old because he's not a baby anymore. And then a few days after that, my niece was born, and that was an amazing experience. And I mean, throughout this whole year, it's just been amazing to watch her grow and develop and change, and when she smiles at me, it's just the greatest thing. But that kind of ends the great that happened this year because it got really bad really fast. So, reading break happened. I came home, got to see my friends that I haven't seen in a while because, we all go off to university. But then the night that we all went back to school, one of my friends died just a few days after her birthday. Passed away suddenly. She was sick like throughout reading break, but like everyone just kind of thought it was a cold. I specifically remember messaging her on her birthday and, asked her what she was doing for her birthday, and she just said she didn't feel like doing anything because she wasn't feeling well. And I was like, well, I know you're not feeling the greatest, but, if you start feeling better, I'm willing to come over, or I'm willing to bring you food, or whatever you want to do, just let me know. And then a couple days after that, she sent me a Snapchat of her walking her puppies. This is still reading break, so she's still home in Toronto. And that was the last I heard from her. I got woken up at 2:00 in the morning with like the scariest phone call, like the phone call you don't ever want to get. And I just remember like not sleeping that night. I was just shaking. I didn't know what to do. It didn't seem real. I mean, and I think the hardest part for me was that our friendship wasn't like, I don't know, it was really weird, like not in a bad way, but she was 2 grades behind me. And so like technically we only spent 2 years of high school together, and we were kind of just like mutual acquaintances because we had mutual friends. So what's important to kind of explain to you, like she really was only a year younger than me because I skipped a grade. So when I say she's 2 grades behind me, like she's literally born in 1998. So yeah. But like I said, we were 2 grades apart. So like in high school we didn't really like, she wasn't like the person I had lunch with every day type of friends, but like I don't know, we got super close after I graduated because my high school to me is like home, literally, like it is my everything. So I was there a lot. I'm still there a lot. And so she ended up being the student body president of our school. And she just did so much for that school, and I tried to help her as much as I could, and we would talk about things like that because, you know, I was still very involved in the school, and like I was helping develop an app for our school, and so that's kind of how we became a lot closer. I remember like anytime there was like a school break, we'd always text each other, and I'd go over to her house, or we'd meet up at Tim Hortons, and I loved playing with her dog. So I don't know, it really hit me, especially at her funeral, because everyone I have ever known, and basically in my entire life, all throughout high school, like this was the first time, like teachers, principals, everything, this was the first time we had all been back together, and this is the reason why we're all back together. And I don't know, this has really impacted me. I have not slept properly since that night. I don't get more than a couple hours of sleep anymore. I don't know, it's been hard. And then, so that's what, February? And then in March, I don't know, March was completely uneventful to me. Actually, no, sorry, I'm missing something. So, actually, about a couple of weeks before my friend died, the day after my niece was born, I went to work, and, you know, it was the end of my shift, and, like, I work at daycares, so I'm kind of like the float, because obviously, like, I can't work full time, I was still in school at the time, so I'm like a float, so I tend to move around rooms, and basically how a daycare works is kind of closer to the end of the day, as the, like, numbers in each of the sections, because you split kids up by age, dwindles, you kind of start combining them. So it was just like about 5:30, and parents are coming to pick up their kids, and how daycares secure themselves is that, like, if you don't physically have a key, like, the door's locked. As soon as the door closes, it's locked. So you have to buzz parents in to come pick up their kids, because there's, like, a camera to make sure, you know, strangers and whatnot don't come into the building, obviously. And so there was a parent at the door, and they tried to get buzzed in, and I stepped on a mat, and it's one of those kid foam puzzle mats, and I had like 2 kids with me, and as soon as I stepped on that mat, there was apparently a pool of water that I did not know or realize or see that was underneath that mat. So as soon as I stepped on that mat, the 2 like puzzle pieces in this mat just separated, and I went down. I didn't break my fall because obviously I had 2 kids with me, so my first reaction, they also fell, but yeah, my first reaction was obviously to grab onto them and not, break my own fall. So I almost did like a complete front split, but on my knees. And I literally just could not get up. Could not. So what ultimately happened from that was I tore my MCL. Don't ask me what MCL means. It's some ligament somewhere in your knee, but yeah, that it hurt. I was on crutches. And my workplace basically fired me after that. Like, I had one more shift. Well, they didn't schedule me for any shifts after that. Usually I would be scheduled for about 20 hours a week. I had a very consistent schedule up until that point, and they didn't schedule me at all for the next week, and I thought that was weird, but I also thought that maybe they were just, obviously I'm hurt, I'm on crutches. They were just kind of giving me a week off, which, didn't really help me because I need money, but whatever. But a couple days, I think it was like the Tuesday or Wednesday, the next week, they called me in because apparently someone else had slipped somewhere else in the building that day and broke their foot and had to go to the hospital and was being transferred to the hospital, so they would be out of ratio. So they asked me to come in, which I gladly did, but I showed up obviously on crutches, and they sent me home immediately and literally never called me back. So they didn't outright be like, you're fired, but it's literally 10 months later and I've never been called back by any of them. Never been given another shift, never asked if I was okay. Started to try and pursue EI, other things, because obviously I'm not working, and I was basically, or actually here in Canada, here in Ontario, don't know if it's which provincial or federal government, we have something called WSIB, which is Worker Safety Insurance Board. So you're supposed to be able to be covered if you get injured, but apparently there's a magical loophole, because of course there is, where daycares don't have to be covered under WSIB. They're allowed to have private insurance, but the company I was working for only had private insurance for their full-time employees. So they basically said, sucks to be you. And yeah. So then March, like I said, was pretty much uneventful for the most part. But then April rolls around, and anyone who's ever been in university or is in university knows that April's kind of crunch time. That's the end of the semester. And like I said, I really hadn't been sleeping, still haven't been sleeping. And it was just tough. I distinctly remember coming home to Toronto one weekend or one Friday or something to see my doctor, and she put me on new ADHD medication to try and help me focus, because I'm not sleeping, it's crunch time, I was falling behind, it just needed to be done. And apparently I was allergic to this medication. So about 3 or 4 days in, I was at school in a meeting, and all of a sudden everything just started spinning. I don't know how to explain it. It just the world was blurry. It was I don't know if you've guys seen almost like a fisheye lens. That's the best way to explain it. It was almost like the world became through a fisheye lens. And I remember texting my friend, and she came up the stairs to get me. And when I tried to explain to her what was going on, I was just stuttering. I couldn't get proper words out of my mouth without stuttering. And obviously that was very scary. And, an ambulance got called. I ended up in the hospital. when my school called my mom and they put me on the phone to try to explain to my mom what was going on, and my mom heard my voice and heard the stuttering, I've never heard such fear in my mom's voice in my entire life. And I ended up being in the hospital for about a week. They discovered that I had some sort of heart condition. So my heart had some weird extra beat. But what's very strange about it is that I was in the hospital the February before, so February 2017. And I was literally there for another week. For whatever reason, I seem to end up almost dying at least once a year. Apparently that's just a thing. So I know that because I was in the hospital for a week in February 2017, there wasn't an extra heartbeat. So that's why everyone was a little bit concerned, or not even a little bit, a lot of bit concerned. Because it wasn't there last year, it's there this year. They don't know what it is. I mean, even to this day, they're still doing testing. They really don't know what it is. But I eventually, forgot to mention, I am deathly afraid of the hospital, which, doesn't really help being in the hospital. But yeah, eventually I got released, mostly because I was having too many panic attacks being in the hospital. And so they sent me home. And also, I missed my final art showing for my art degree. I complete my art opening, my very first and probably only art opening that I will ever have. I missed it. My work didn't go up because this happened a couple days before the art showing. The art showing was on Saturday, and this happened maybe the Wednesday or Thursday. So I missed that art showing. I don't even think I had completely finished my project because, I like to procrastinate, and crunch time is when I get everything done. And so I had that to work on. Exams were the next week. And my two best friends, one of whom I had been best friends with since I was 7 years old, decided that would be the greatest time in the world, just being released from the hospital, to tell me that they think that I'm fame hungry and delusional. This is apparently because, I want to be a musician and I work hard at my craft, and I'm the type of person who, it's not that necessarily speak things into existence, but I kind of believe that if you want something and you want to go after something, you I don't know if I'm weird for this, but I just kind of almost pretend it's just gonna happen, it's just guaranteed, it's just happening. So I would say things I don't know, one day I'll meet Taylor Swift, or one day I'll meet Shawn Mendes and get to work with them, or maybe write a song with them, or something along those lines. I don't know if that's weird, but that's just me. But those things apparently made me fame hungry and delusional. So that blew up into a giant fight, mostly because I just felt completely disrespected, because like I said, these people have been my friends for basically my whole life. And it's one thing, I totally get, if you're concerned about someone, I get it. And, as someone's best friend, I also get that, and I would expect them to, if they were concerned, and if they're, genuinely concerned, yes, I would like them to say something to me. But there's also kind of a time and place for something. And this is exactly why I don't do long-form video. Sorry, that first part had a lot of technical difficulties, but there's just no way in heck I am redoing that part. But hopefully this is now in focus. like I was saying, I think that there is a time and place to address something. As my best friend at the time, of course, if you're genuinely concerned, please come talk to me. Like, please tell me that you're concerned. But don't do it a few days after I got out of the hospital, and a few days before exams, and a few weeks after my friend died, and a time when my entire world is spinning out of control. That's just not the time to say, hey, I think you're fame hungry and delusional. And another part of that, to me, why I think we're no longer friends, is because I felt very used by these people. Like I said, like, specifically one person in this situation, like, she had been my friend since I was 7 years old. That is a long, long ass time to be someone's friend. And yet, like, in retrospect, looking back, they weren't real, like, not that they weren't there for me, but, like, they weren't there for my important moments. Whether that be, like, my high school graduation, any of my performances. They literally didn't even come visit me at university. I was in university for 4 years. And I was never once visited. I always had to go visit them and, travel to see them and travel to their events and their graduations and all of their things. But, always, switching my birthdays for their schedules. But, yeah, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, that's what kind of happened. So that would be April. I finished school, passed all my courses. Summer comes, and I tried to get a job. Even though I was still injured, still could barely walk. I was honestly running out of money, and my car payments needed to be made, and I couldn't keep asking my parents for money. So I got a 6-week contract with this non-for-profit. They do, like, theater for kids. And I was going to be their media coordinator. And I was editing their videos, filming some stuff. I mean, which was great for me in the sense that, like, I don't know if this sounds weird, honestly, but, like, part of me, like, I love being around kids. I love teaching kids. I love helping kids. That it makes my heart happy. And since I hadn't worked since February and I so got abruptly fired, like, I didn't even get to say bye to my kids at the daycare. And I feel so bad for that. Like, for me, like, it's not even about partly it is about getting fired. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But, like, for me, like, not being able to say bye to those kids, like, that hurts me. Because one day I was there, and then one day I was gone with no explanation, no goodbye, no nothing, no letting them know. To me, like, I would never willingly do that to any kid ever. Ever, ever, ever. I even remember, like, a daycare that I was working at previously. Like, I worked there for, like, it was supposed to be a summer camp, but it was actually a daycare. It's complicated. But to me, like, I loved those kids so much that for the next year, so I no longer work there, I'm not getting paid. Anytime I had a break from school, or anytime, like, one of my classes got canceled and I came home early from back to Toronto, the first thing I would do would go to this daycare and sit there for 5 hours. Sit there and play with these kids for, like, 5 hours, because that's how much they mean to me. So, getting back on track. Basically, it was great for me with this job because I got to be around kids again, and like I said, it makes me very happy. But I underestimated how injured I was. Not really underestimated how injured I was, but like you would think like the job was mostly editing. So I could mostly sit and I thought that it would be fine. But just taking the subway downtown to work every day, and people are jerks. Let's be real. People are jerks. So I'm going and coming back in rush hour. I even have the like blue slip thing from TTC that's like, please offer me a seat, because I'm like, I literally can't walk. But people don't care. They straight up just don't care. So I would be essentially standing on one foot for half an hour on the subway there and back, and it was just destroying me. So at the end of those 6 weeks, I was kind of glad it was over because I was just in so much pain. But I also immediately went to Nashville right after that, which probably didn't help. And the time that I got to spend in Nashville, I loved so much. I love Nashville. Like, I will never move out of Toronto. Toronto is my home. But if I ever got, like, somehow rich enough to, like, get a second house, like, my second house would be in Nashville. Nashville was honestly the first place that I've, like, visited and spent any amount of time in that I didn't have anxiety just being in that place. And I know that sounds insane. I know that sounds crazy because I literally, like, didn't live in Toronto for basically 4 years because I went to school. But, like, every day, wherever I was at school, like, was anxiety. I was not comfortable. So for me, for a place to feel comfortable is, like, a big deal. And how do I explain this? In my personal opinion, the people who were running this program were very discriminatory and very racist. And so I ultimately had to leave early because they were claiming that I was being abusive to other students. And I find that funny because I was the one being bullied. I was the one being ditched at malls, left to walk for over 2 hours on the side of a highway, until a police officer picked me up and brought me home. Or I was the one crying myself to sleep, because basically no one would talk to me or interact with me or invite me to anything or do anything with me. And, yeah. They even tried to get me to sign a piece of paper admitting that I was abusive, but what's funny about it is that they wouldn't tell me how I was abusive, like what I specifically did that was abusive, when this abuse occurred, to whom this abuse occurred, like literally any information whatsoever. They literally pulled me into an office one morning. I went to class, super excited to be at class, and they're just like, we don't think this program is the right fit for you. We're booking you a plane ticket and you're going home tonight. Yeah, literally, like that. That was a whole thing. But it ended me back up in the hospital, but this time in a foreign country. Super fun, right? Which was another extremely scary experience. Honestly, one of the scariest experiences of my life, because like I mentioned, I found out that, like, I have a heart condition. So while this whole thing was happening, and I don't know if it was just the stress, I don't know. Like, we don't even know what this heart condition is, but I do have an Apple Watch, and, like, it alerts me if my heart rate is going too high, and it was literally alerting me just like every 10 minutes. Like, it was ridiculous. And I was having a hard time breathing. And it's a very scary situation to be in a foreign country with a bunch of people who hate you, and you can't breathe, and you don't think you can call anyone. You don't think that anyone would take you to the hospital. You don't, like, obviously, like, I'm not stupid, like, and, well, not even that I'm not stupid, but, like, I'm from Canada, so, like, being in the States, like, I know, like, it's the same, like, 911 is the same, but it's still, especially for me, who is extremely afraid of hospitals, and, you know, there's this heart condition, and I have no one. My mom is 13 hours away, and I have no one. Was just very scary experience. But I eventually came home and kind of picked up the pieces of me, because that experience made me very depressed. Very, very depressed. Because that experience, like, Nashville to me, like, I had taken out a loan to go. Like, I literally took out a loan that was bigger than what I owed in student loans to go to this program. That is how much this program meant to me. And even the short time that I was there, I learned so much. I swear to you, I learned more than in a week than I learned in my 4-year degree. So, like, to lose that, and to lose that in the way that I lost it, and to still, to this day, I don't know what I did. I don't know the real reason why I wasn't allowed to complete that program. And, you know, what's sad is that of all the people in that program, only one person has reached out to me from this program. That's how much they did not care. These people are so cruel that because I literally went grocery shopping the day before I got, like, kicked out and whatever, and so I had to leave a whole bunch of food there because I couldn't bring it on the plane, and they literally would send me videos of them burning my food, videos of them making fun of me. They literally created a whole group chat just to make fun of me, and then added me to the group chat so I can see that they're all, like, you know, making fun of me. It's great. But I was the abusive one. I was somehow abusive. The one with no friends, who was always by themselves, basically didn't talk to anyone, kept to themselves, literally intentionally wasn't trying to ruffle feathers, because I know I have disabilities, and I know I'm not, like, the best in social situations, and I don't pick up on a lot of social cues, so I don't put myself out there. I don't, you know, I don't know how else to explain that, but I don't. But, you know, closer to the end here, a couple of good things have happened. I've gotten accepted to 2 different programs. So the first program is to help me develop my business idea, which is going to be a nonprofit that helps kids, because of course it is, I'm me, and art, and it's way more complicated, but that's the gist. So I'm very excited about that, so that I can actually get this nonprofit up and running. That's really what I want to do. And 2, I've partnered with one of the colleges in my area, and they have a music business program, and they kind of make this mini music industry, and I'm going to be an artist in that, like, fake music industry kind of thing, and they help you record and, you know, do all the things, build a website, all of it, help you make music, set you up with songwriters, do all the things. So I'm excited for that, so that hopefully I can share with you some original music in the up and coming year. But like I said, this year has been hard. This year has been so hard. I don't know, like, it's just intense and a lot. And, you know, a lot of the things that have happened over this past year, you know, are still not over. So many months later, they're still not over. I'm still not healed. I still can barely walk. I still don't sleep because, like, I have generalized anxiety disorder, if you guys didn't know, and I have ADHD. And basically, my brain gets very paranoid. So essentially what is happening is, since I got that phone call that my friend died at 2 o'clock in the morning, I literally can't sleep until 2 o'clock in the morning. I have tried. I have taken sleeping pills. I have done everything under the sun. I cannot sleep until after 2 o'clock in the morning. It's almost like my brain's like, if someone else is going to die, they're going to call before 2 o'clock in the morning. So if we wait until after 2 o'clock in the morning, then it'll be fine. And then, I didn't even mention how my first, like, babysitter's husband died. That's a whole other, not going to, anyway. So yeah, my brain's very paranoid. I get about 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, which is not enough sleep for me. Yeah, because I wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I go to bed at 2. It's great. So I'm just exhausted all the time. I'm tired all the time. Yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm making this video because I know that if I'm feeling these emotions, there's no way that out of the 7-8 billion people on this planet that someone else isn't feeling those emotions, and hopefully seeing that someone else has them will help you realize that you're not by yourself. But yeah, that's been my year. It's been a tough one. But I got through it, or I'm almost through it. There's a couple more weeks. And I really, really hope that 2019 is better than this. I mean, literally nothing could happen in 2019 would be better than this year. But, yeah. Thanks for, if you're still here somehow, honestly, thank you for listening to me ramble about my life and my struggles and the things that have been going on. But like I said, when I made this channel, I will always be honest with you guys, and this is what's been going on. So I have more videos for you guys for the rest of Vlogmas that I promise won't be this depressing. So I hope you stick around, and I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.